Good day, everybody. It is the 5th of November, 2025. It's Wednesday. It's 10 minutes after 1. And I'm going to go down here by the river, across from the hotel. But I thought I'd show you here. It says Hotel Willing. Maybe that's where they formed the Coalition of the Willing. You know, all these knuckleheads. So, over here is Leningrad. Leningrad, kind of a shopping, actually it's not a shopping mall. What is it? A place where you can get building supplies, little shops up above there. This rock was proclaimed a rock in 2021. It is a rock. I am, therefore I am. Okay, let's keep going. I was going to go down here because I believe these willow trees, they hold their foliage a little bit longer than a lot of the maple or these things. As you see, everything is stripped bare. What is it? What do they say? October, the leaves are stripped bare from all they wear. That's from U2, the song October. But actually it's not true. It's in November. Everything gets stripped of their leaves. But as you see, look, we still have something on the willow trees here. Okay, I saw a video this morning. I guess it was released probably yesterday evening in the States, of Jimmy Dore, and he put up what really should be very shocking. But you know, this Charlie Kirk stuff, it's already, you know, it happened on September 10th, so it's been nearly 2 months now, and everybody is, you know, not so much interested. They've got Charlie Kirk overload, and that includes me for the most part. But Candace Owens, of course, she's not giving up. But Charlie Kirk, he put out a video, and he said it's like a resurfaced video. And in that video is Charlie Kirk. He's up talking, and it's probably not very long before his demise. And I don't know, but there's a lot of people that buy into this lie that Charlie still loved Israel and this and that, and I don't know. Very, like what Candace Owens is saying, there's a lot of truth in that. It's very strange what they're doing. Oh, I'm just now looking at my picture here. Notice I got a new coat. They call this in Belarus Alaska, this when you have fur up here. So I didn't like my gray coat that I got in 2021. I had to get it quickly when I came over here. I mean, right at the end of 2021, and I needed something warm because I came from the Caribbean and right up to here, and it was some of the coldest days of that year of 2021, and I had a jacket, but I needed something a little bit warmer, so rushed into that and held off until now and getting something a little bit more like what I would like. Anyway, okay, so no, what Jimmy Dore was showing, it was a video clip of Charlie Kirk on stage, and he's talking about October 7th, and Charlie Kirk has already come out and said that there is no way that could have happened as the official story goes, because he said every meter you go there's an IDF soldier on the border with Gaza. So it's no way that could have happened. And it's already known to any people that look into this sort of thing that obviously Israel is heavily, if not completely complicit in doing October 11th or October 7th, 2023. What the heck is going on over there? I can't see anything. You can hear that very loud. Why is it there's always something with the bag noise? That's the Hotel Beijing or Peking, by the way. Why does there have to be some noise all the time whenever I'm making a video? Just something. Okay, but anyway, this video, it shows Charlie Kirk up on stage talking to some people, and he's mentioning that it took the IDF 20 hours to respond to this so-called attack by Hamas, which I call it so-called because I don't really know what this was all about. It's an attack, but some people are calling it, it's more like a false flag. Very strange. I don't know what you should call it. But it took them 20 hours to do anything about it. So they were just letting it happen. There's so much information, about that day. Like there was some young girl called her mother or something, and she said she's going to this thing, and she said, don't go there. There's something going to be going down. This is on the Israeli side is what I'm talking about. So they knew, somebody knew. I think that mother worked somewhere in the government, so this was all, sadly enough, a staged thing. And Jimmy Dore said that to him it's obvious they needed some sort of a very big time attack like that in order to justify them going into Gaza and taking all of Gaza. And that's probably right. And genocide, it depends on, I guess, what your definition of genocide is, but it's not like you're going to ever wipe out an entire ethnic group of any people anywhere, because they're spread all over the world. And so I guess that's about as close to a genocide as you can come, is what they were doing there, Israel, to the Palestinian, or at least to the Gazan people. And they're doing things like, as a matter of fact, just yesterday, big major operation inside of Ramallah in the West Bank. So it's not just Gaza. And this stuff happens all the time. As you know, the past days, lots of attacks on Lebanon, things in and on Lebanon. So they just don't give up. And I also mentioned, what was it, yesterday or the day before, that Netanyahu says that they're going to destroy the Houthi in Yemen. It's a little bit further away. But of course they vow to destroy Iran too. Of course with the United States doing all the bombing, because they can't. Really makes you wonder. If all of these countries were not artificially propped up by, guess who? The United States. Not propped up by the United States. It makes you wonder, all these people would have to get along together. They would have to, give a little, take a little, and get along, and I don't know. But then, of course, Israel would have never been created, because it was created as an artificial state, unfortunately. I don't know. How much can I talk about that? A lot of people. When I left the house, it was cloudy. I'm sorry, I'm walking this. As a matter of fact, I got to go back the other way. But let me keep talking and get a little bit further on in what I'm talking about here. Okay. So it took 20 hours to get there, and there was IDF soldiers, that testified. What was this? Some months ago. It was in this year in 2026. They testified in court that they were told to stand down on October 7th. They were told to stand down. Incredible. I'm not saying that Charlie Kirk said that, but let's get back. What else did Charlie Kirk say? Charlie Kirk also said that the establishment lied to us about the COVID origins and the vaccines. Oh boy, you can't say that on YouTube. I didn't say that. Charlie Kirk said that. Gee, how could he get away with saying? No, I think YouTube has loosened up a lot about that, if I'm not mistaken. So you can actually kind of tell the truth about some things now that you weren't allowed to tell the truth about on YouTube in the past. So, because that's, what is that called? Censorship, I suppose. The truth will not be allowed. There's a bunch of guys coming up here. Tell you, my coat is dark green. You see these guys up there? They're black coats. Oh, one guy's got a blue coat. When I first got here to Belarus, you can get a coat of any color, any any color that you want, as long as it was blue or black. You know, it's like, what if I want a green coat, you know, and you go to the shops or something like that. There was no green coats, but there's a lot of green coats now. It's incredible. It's kind of like they listen to me. I don't know, did I write that online or something? I don't know. But you know, you see a couple red ones and all that, but most everybody's wearing like black coats and blue coats, sometimes still in some of these shops. That's all you see. So, okay, the origins of COVID and all that. Who was that just said this? Oh no, it was Charlie Kirk. He was saying, I don't believe that it originated in some cave in, you know, bat cave in the Himalayas, and of course it didn't, and everybody knows that now. I don't know, maybe not YouTube, I don't know what they believe and what I'm allowed to say. So but he also Jimmy put up this quote by Charlie Kirk saying that he couldn't, well, I didn't write his words, I could have wrote his words, but he can no longer support the pro-Israel cause. And 2 days later he was killed when he put that up online. But he was talking about it already before, but maybe he went more and more public, and very strange. Now, I didn't say that Israel killed him, you know. A lot of people are talking about deep state, but it's obvious that something went on, and this Tyler Robinson is completely innocent. Makes you wonder if they're going to somehow get this guy, maybe even convince him that he is guilty. You never know. Remember, like that George Zinn, right after the shot rang out, I did it. I think Jimmy Dore said he pulled his pants down and said, it was me. I did it. You know, no gun in his hand or nothing. So where's the murder weapon? And I don't know. Everything is so fake about that. I don't have the faintest idea. I don't think anybody does. It's similar to what happened in JFK assassination. They do so much hanky-panky things that nobody can say exactly sure. It can't be this because this conflicts with that, and so on and so forth. So it's all done purposefully. I don't know if you really start looking into the JFK stuff. They had all sorts of fake signals and things going all over the place, and it's kind of similar here. Kind of similar. I don't know. It was a little bit more involved, I guess, with JFK. And apparently, Lee Harvey Oswald had nothing to do with it. Matter of fact, I think that's when they killed him. He said, I'm a patsy, and then they shot him and killed him. Of course, they didn't let him get to court. It makes me wonder about Tyler Robinson, how that is going to work out. Anyway. So that is some pretty shocking news, actually, when you see this video from Charlie Kirk coming out and saying that he's no, and you know, basically saying that these guys are a bunch of liars and made a setup to kill their own people in order to, you know, achieve some political aims. And he said he was bullied so much that he is forced not to support Israel any longer, not to support the pro-Israel cause. That's what he said. So, you heard it. Okay. He also mentioned what I keep talking about all the time, but of course, he's not as well informed as a lot of us us truth activists are. Charlie Kirk says that Israel gets $4 billion every year, but I said they get a guaranteed $4 billion every year. And I've been hearing that for a long, long time. I've been hearing that for over 20 years. They've been getting at least a guaranteed $4 billion, but they get more than that. And they know that it's a known fact that they got over $10 billion in 2024. You know, thank you from American taxpayers. And it's always over $4 billion, but that is just the guaranteed. And of course, they don't have to pay any of it back. And technically, it's supposed to be a loan. At least it was back in those days. I remember when I was following this a lot more, and it was technically a loan, but Congress always allowed them, because, you know, they own more congressmen than any state, and more senators than any state, of course, and they admit that, as a matter of fact. Israel owns more senators than any state in America. Every state gets 2 senators, and Israel says they got like 30. So they always allow them to default on the loan. So Israel can, or not to pay not to pay the loan back. So then Israel can say, we have never defaulted ever on a loan to from the United States. So they just never had to pay them back. So that's how that works. Okay. Where am I at here? Oh, Candace Owens. She keeps finding more and more stuff. A lot of things that just kind of are too strange. They don't mix up. You know, I don't know if she does a summary of all of these weird things that went on, and who's going to put all this stuff together? Who's going to connect the dots? Who's going to connect them accurately? And I don't know. It's Candace. I guess she's the only bet that we have. They'll probably kind of eliminate her before she can possibly do this when she finds out more. But apparently she came out with something and said there were 12 cell phones, 12 Israeli, in other words, cell phones bought and registered in Israel that were active on that campus where Charlie Kirk was shot on that day. 12 Israeli. And she is saying, well, hey, maybe they had 12 students and they got their phones in Israel. I don't know. But she said she wants to have the answers. So it's not implicating 100% right there, but it's just a little strange. There's a lot of really strange stuff, but you know, maybe when you add them all together, it says something. I don't know. Can they track where those people were at? I don't know. They probably would have been at that, because if they think that Charlie is, or thought, or whatever, was pro-Israel, maybe they would be at that event on September 10th back then. I don't know if any of you have seen those drones, and I'm seeing them all over the place, and it is really sad, and it's really questioning. It's about Ukrainian drones, these little drones, these little drones, and I'm not sure who is filming. It's probably a Russian. Yeah, it was a Russian drone, because I hear their remarks, I guess, and they were really shocked. And it's just a surveillance drone. It's not, Russia didn't have a drone that was had any explosives or anything on it at that time, but there were little drones. They're little drones, and kamikaze type drones, and they were old people. One, I think it started out with some old guy, and you know, and they're very slow. These guys are probably in their 70s or something, or maybe even older. I don't know. But they're going, you know, very slow, and one guy's, I don't know if that was the same guy that was walking his dog, and he had a white flag, you know, like, don't shoot me, I'm taking my dog out for a walk. And the Ukrainians, I hope I didn't say Israeli earlier, but the Ukrainians, yeah, they blew him up right in the face. They flew right into his face and blew the guy up. And then some woman was walking, I think, on the same road, and she was, because I guess that road led to where you know, these are civilians, old people, and you know, like, oh, real big threat to Ukraine, no matter what, and absolutely no way were they at any threat possible. So anyway, then I think there was was an old lady, an older lady. She got on her, well, it's like 3 people, I believe. Anyway, one was like a man, I think he was walking, and he was crossing himself when he saw the body of the other guy, and then they blew him up. And then a woman came, and I guess she fell to her knees, and she was like praying, and she was crossing herself as well, you know, doing the Christian cross, making the sign of the cross and all that, and they flew the drone right into her face and blew her up that way. I mean, these are Ukrainian citizens getting blown up by Ukrainian drones. Yeah, very nice people, I guess, you know. I mean, yeah, and these Russians that were watching this, I guess, on this drone, they were really shocked, of course. Yes, indeed. Yes. Yeah, they were walking really slow. Okay. So, I'm also seeing that there are analysts saying that even with the recent support of the UK sending these Storm Shadow glider bombs, you know, missiles or whatever, and thousands of mercenaries, that are coming. You know, they're offering them huge sums of money, and that they can leave anytime they want. You know, they can come and fight for Ukraine, but you know, actually they can't leave. They have videos and information where they're not letting them leave, and I think they're even killing them if they want to leave the fight. These Colombian mercenaries, and then they're going to be like Spanish units, and yeah. But even with these, I don't even know how many thousands Colombian mercenaries and these Storm Shadow missiles from Great Britain, that they still won't be able to win this war. Still not going to work. So that's what analysts are saying, and it's like, yeah, the Ukraine military, very big manpower shortage. They can't even seem to get enough people, and obviously, as you know, there was one thing from Kharkiv. You know, of course, they like to get their cannon fodder from Odessa and Kharkiv, because it's the, you know, bigger cities. Kharkiv is the second biggest city in Ukraine, and Odessa is a big, very important city. So, and they're pro-Russian, they're ethnic Russian people, and of course that's one reason why the Zelensky regime likes to grab the people off the streets from those cities, and you don't see so much of them taking them from Kiev. You know, Kiev, they're all partying, you know, yeah, and the discotheques and all that, because, you know, most, I don't know, actually Kiev is also a Russian city, but I think maybe there's a large amount of real Ukrainian type peoples there, that from this region of Russia that was called Ukraine, you know, before they declared themselves a country. And what year was that? I don't know. Maybe was it 1991? I don't know. So, but there's these military analysts are saying that they still don't see, even though Ukraine, everybody's known that Ukraine has lost. They've known that for a long time. There is no way that they can, not even with the United States joining in, because Russia can also escalate. So, and the European Union, they know that they don't have the military to do that, and Russia can escalate again. And so Russia has a lot of troops in reserve. So there's no way that Ukraine can win. And analysts are saying they're still not going to give up. They're just going to sit there and watch hundreds of thousands of their people getting killed. It's absolutely incredible. And you got to think about this government that's in charge over there. They don't care about any deaths of any people. And it's very much similar. It makes you wonder if it's these shots, these vaccines that we all got, or not me, of course, and a lot of us didn't, but a lot of people got in 2021 around that time, to make these people go mad and not really care about other people. I don't know. Very, very strange. Like the Benjamin Netanyahu, I never saw how they would sacrifice so many Israelis to get this political agenda to get Gaza on that October 7th, what we were just talking about. And watching what Zelensky is doing. But you know, Zelensky's in a rock and a hard place. He's got the British bodyguards and he's got the Nazi bodyguards, and if he does not do what he is supposed to do, I think they'll eliminate him, you know. So who knows. Okay, last night the bad news was announced for the Republicans. Wow, they lost New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City to the Democrats, and makes you really wonder. Now, who would, if you look at the Democrats, how crazy these people are. You know, who would vote for these? A lot of these people. I don't know about the people that they voted in, but the Democratic Party is nothing but a bunch of friggin' idiots. There's no doubt about that. But then you look at Donald Trump and say, well, dang, he's an idiot too, isn't he? Look at what he's doing. All this stuff, you know. Sanctions, oh, not sanctions. No sanctions, yeah, oh yes, sanctions. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send these bombs. I'm not going to send them. No, I'm going to send the bombs. I'm not going to send the bombs. You know, Mr. Fickle, Mr. Indecisive. And I don't know. Donald Trump is, I don't know. So maybe people were voting for what they thought is the lesser of two evils. Donald Trump is sitting in the hot seat doing a whole bunch of screwed up stuff. But, you know, he was telling us, wasn't he saying that he has got this greatest economy that has ever existed in all of history, and how much less expensive everything is now, and that everybody gets to have eggs or something. I guess there was an egg shortage, and I think, was it oil? No, that was COVID time. And toilet paper. No, they had a toilet paper apocalypse again. It's not just the time during the I don't know what the deal is in toilet paper in the West. I don't know, maybe they're full of something or other, so they need toilet paper to, but anyway, but I think they had a toilet paper thing, and they were thinking about like Russia, getting them from Belarus and Russia and all that. Oh, no, maybe it was the European Union that they needed the toilet paper. I don't know. Everybody, they're always needing something over there in the West. It's weird we don't get these sort of shortages over here. I don't know. But, so what happened? Anyway, I think a lot of these people voted for Trump dissatisfaction. I think they just wanted to get away from this crap of him threatening everybody, threatening Venezuela, threatening Nigeria. Now he's threatening Mexico. And he was threatening China with this. He's threatening Russia with nuclear submarines. And, Mr. Threat, I don't know. I'm going to sanction you, or I'm going to blow you up with nukes, or I'm going to do a military attack. I don't know. Maybe they're just kind of sick of that. They don't like a big braggart. I don't know. They say they don't like kings. I don't know. Obama acted like he was a king too. And so did what? They all do that. I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe they don't like that they're having their experience right now in America, the greatest economy in world history. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with this ice. Ice. It's not even cold yet, and they have ice. They have ice in all the cities, but it's not even cold. How did that happen? Well, these. You know what I'm talking about. So Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, I was going to also say, this Donald Trump talking about, how great everything is in the economy. But I was thinking, because we only hear from Donald Trump and maybe from the billionaires, but maybe the man in the street, maybe that's not the greatest economy for them. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. So you probably ask Jeff Bezos and Elon. They're probably doing, and Jimmy or Billy Gates. I just talked about him yesterday. Yes, but Vivek Ramaswamy, he said Republicans now have to focus on affordability. Hey, wait, didn't I just say that? Yeah, it's like that everything is too expensive for everybody over there. But wait, I'm over here. That's another thing. I'm over here. I don't know what's going on in the States. And I just know, I hear some of the prices. It's absolutely incredible. I remember the prices when I was in Bremen, Germany. What was it, a monthly bus pass? No, that was German marks. It was like 30 marks. So it was 15 euros for students. I don't know what it was for people that didn't get a discount to get a monthly bus pass and a streetcar. But what do we pay here now? We pay, I think it's 51 rubles. That's like $15. So the price I paid long time ago, 2000, in the year 1999 in Bremen, that's what we pay for now for a monthly bus pass in Minsk. Just saying. I don't know what it costs in other places now. I remember in Bavaria at that time it was like 45 euros. God, so who was crazy? What I did, I rode a bike. I think it was 16 kilometers to work. I had a nice bike. I rode my bicycle 16 kilometers to work every single day. Doesn't matter what the weather was, I rode a bike. 16 kilometers there, 16 kilometers back. So, okay. I'm not going to pay no 50 friggin' euros for a bus pass, and I have to walk a long distance to get to the bus, and I don't know, it's just too much of a hassle. So the greatest economy, so affordability. I think it's Donald Trump's attack the world attitude. Maybe a lot of people didn't like that. Let's attack everybody. We're the victims. They cheated us. Everybody's cheating us. Canada's cheating us. But don't mention we have the world's reserve currency and we can print up as much money as we want. Everybody's got to accept it, and all their currencies are based on our currency. But they're cheating us. Totally ridiculous. Anyway, you have to really. You don't have to be a great con artist, maybe, to be like, pull that over somebody's eyes, So Trump, he was really going after this guy, this guy running for mayor, Mamdani, and Trump lost. I fought the law, but the law won. I fought Mamdani, and Mamdani won. So Trump was calling him a communist. He's a socialist. He is a democratic socialist. You know what? I tell you what, I was looking at some information about this guy. What is this guy? The only thing I didn't like is he said he stands with Ukraine. But he also was against sending money to Ukraine. But you know, all these people that even, as long as they stand with Ukraine, they're probably, Zelensky will sweet talk them and, you know, do a circus seal on them, and then they'll send the money to Ukraine and send them some tanks and things like that. You know, well, you know how that is. Zelensky gets down in front of you and undoes your zipper, and there you go. There you're sending your hard-earned money to Ukraine, not your hard-earned money. So, okay. But anyway, I was looking at some of these things about this Mamdani, and it actually sounded pretty damn good, you know. And I'm thinking, this guy sounds pretty damn good, you know, except for the stand with Ukraine. But see, I don't know everything about him. I've got to look around and try to find something negative about this guy, which I haven't seen yet, you know. And everybody's saying they're going to move, they're going to leave, or not everybody, a lot of people say they're going to leave New York. It's like, what? Why are they going to leave New York? It's like by saying that no matter where you come from, Senegal or the Caribbean or from Africa or Venezuela, you all have certain rights there. He might be for giving free medical care to illegal aliens. That's very, very possible. But you know, that might be a negative, but everything else I've heard about the guy, it doesn't sound bad at all. I'm just saying. And I guess there was a picture. But anyway, he made a good acceptance speech. What did he say? Let me talk about that first. He said, to reach any of us, you will have to go through all of us. So actually, he sounds like a person who wants to unite people. And Donald Trump, you know, he just wants to unite people that are for Donald Trump. Everybody else, get out of here. So anyway, it's a much different approach, I guess. So the frightening part, like I said, is that he stands with Ukraine. But another thing is, they had a picture of him with Alexandra Soros. So I don't know if he's a Soros type of guy, but apparently the Soros people don't like him at all. They don't like this Mamdani. You know, I don't know that I don't think that Mamdani, he doesn't sound like he's a guy that dislikes anybody. So he seems like he's actually a guy that will get along with most anyone. So even Trump, I guess. So that's a good thing, but I don't know. Maybe that's what actually scares these people about this guy, that he likes to work to unite people. But like I said, I don't know. I don't want to get too teary-eyed over this guy. So say no more. Putin, he gave a talk all about all of Russia's super weapons lately, you know, and it's not just this Burevestnik and the Poseidon. It's the, you know, like the what's it called, the Oreshnik, the demonstration some months ago. And then they have the Sarmat. Ooh, Sarmat. Now that is a nasty fellow. That is a very nasty fellow there. The Sarmat is one of these massive ICBMs. Really, it's super heavy, and you launch it. I'm not even sure how, but I don't even know. Is that online yet? But you launch that. I know that it goes faster than the speed of sound. You launch that, for example, on New York, and it takes out probably New York and Newark, New Jersey. Newark and New York. Or you launch it at San Francisco, and it takes out all of Oakland as well. Maybe even down to San Luis Obispo. You never know. Massive, massive thing. Carries a lot of these warheads, and they split up and they blow up everything in the area. And it's I don't know if that's if the United States can defend themselves against that or not. Patriots, I don't know. So they also have the avant-garde. And don't forget the Iskander. The Iskander, that's wrecking massive, massive havoc. And I think that's also maybe hypersonic. I mean, it's like, gosh, how many weapons are they coming up with now? You know, I mean, I guess that's what they get in the West for threatening and provoking Russia year after year after year. You know, we're gonna get you, we're gonna blow you up, you're evil. So I guess that's Russia's answer for that. And Putin says they got a lot of other things coming on down the line too that they're developing. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. So let me get some walking done here to get out of here. Where do I go? I guess I'll head back this way. You know, I can go that way. But I don't know, too many people walking around today. So a massive explosion happened in Louisville, Kentucky. You guys probably already saw that. It was as you know, probably by now, it was a UPS cargo plane, and it was just taking off. It was on its way to going to Honolulu, Hawaii. It probably had a very, very full tank. I doubt very much that it can go from Louisville, Kentucky all the way to Honolulu. It probably would have had to refuel in Los Angeles or something, but nevertheless, it had a full tank of jet fuel. And I don't even know what happened, but massive explosion. I mean, huge. Went through some sorts of, I don't know, factories and buildings and all that. And, you know, people, there were casualties. I've heard of 4 of them already, but probably more. Yes. Okay, Ursula von der Leyen. Yesterday, I said there was some kind of a quote from Ursula von der Leyen. She's always coming up with something, as you know, scaring the crap out of people and things like that as well. So yesterday, Ursula, what did she do? She said that if Ukraine faces a lack of energy this winter, they won't face it alone. They won't face it alone. I will sacrifice the heat and the comfort of the European peoples, myself excluded, of course, for your heat. So we will freeze. We'll take cold showers because of Putin's, the socket to Putin for natural gas. And anyway, but he said maybe it was the same sort of a deal. So I don't know how, you know, how can they direct their energy from Europe back to Ukraine? I don't think so. So anyway, they won't face it alone, she said. And the EU will sacrifice and share the suffering. I mean, that wasn't her words, but the Europe, she said that Ukrainians are more important. She said Ukrainians are more important than Europeans. Isn't that incredible? I guess maybe she's trying to make everybody think, oh, look at, they're all fighting. They're all fighting the evil Russians, you know? And so that's what that's all about, I guess. Oh, nice looking gharials. I should have been having my camera facing that way. So anyway, more important. Sounds like Baerbock. That's who said that. When she was over, she said in English, she was in Ukraine, and she said that, you know, what she's going to give, she's going to give everything, as long as it takes, all that sort of talk, you know, and that she doesn't care about the German voters. She said it in English. I probably find that somewhere online. So anyway, that's somewhere along that line, that the Ukrainians are God's chosen people. They're the exceptional, they're the master. It's actually what they probably want to go with is the master race. Makes you really wonder. And it's like, what the heck? What the heck? What are these? Something in the water? Is it the COVID shot? I don't really know what the hell has happened. I mean, sorry for the Christians. I don't know what's going on with these people. You know? Here they are supposed to, well, they're not elected. Baerbock was not elected, and neither was Ursula von der Leyen. So they're sitting there saying that people from somewhere else are more important than the people that they're supposed to be governing. You know, it's like, you guys are a bunch of cockroaches. Those other people are better than us. Man, isn't that incredible? Talking about slave mentality or something. I don't know. What is that called? It's maybe what they want the Palestinians to think of the Israelis. Maybe it's what the Nazis were doing back in the... She is a descendant of, but should be that she makes me... I don't have any idea. Is that the Stockholm Syndrome in her side of her mind or something like that? Crazy lady. Crazy. Gosh. I don't know. You know, it makes me sick to my stomach just thinking about people like this. Anyway. So, Israel, they conducted a big operation, like I said, in Ramallah. I already said that. Zelensky. He's not giving up. You know, I guess, you know, they're not going to give, he's not going to give up probably anyway until they're knocking on his door, until the Russians are knocking on his door with an Iskander. But he says that, again, he said it the other day, that, you know, the situation is dire, but it's not so bad. It's not bad. It's a lie that the Russians said. Look at this. Shroom stump. Look at that, will you? So anyway, he said in Pokrovsk, it's difficult, but Ukraine is destroying the occupier. So he's doubling down. Not only is it kind of dire, but they're in control of things. Now they're destroying the occupier. And Russia, I'll tell you what's going on here, and I'm hearing one report, these people, they don't even have food anymore. They're penned in, and they've tried to break them out, not only from these helicopters, you know, and there's also something going on with these helicopters, these two Blackhawks. I'm hearing two different stories, that the CIA was also there in the helicopters, and some of the people, I guess there was an army major that he was captured of. I don't know if that's American military major that was captured, and some people are even talking about that the Russians have, which I doubt, some CIA people, but I don't know about that. Or maybe the CIA people are on the run and hiding out somewhere, maybe in the area, and maybe the Russians are hunting them. And then I've heard another one, and I mentioned that yesterday, that the CIA was involved in the planning of that, and I don't know. So I don't know. So we'll see. But somehow there's something to do with the CIA. And I don't know. I don't know if that's just rumor. There might be really somehow involvement with the CIA. Maybe just the planning. Maybe they were doing the operation as well. And that was the other one. Another one was that they were going in, that the Ukrainians were going in to rescue some CIA agents that are trapped there. So they were there, and they had maybe nothing to do, or maybe they also were involved in the planning, and they were also trying to rescue CIA agents that are trapped in Pokrovsk, if that's where that was at. Wow. So this is all interesting stuff, and I don't know, are we going to hear more about this as time goes by? Very interesting, very interesting. Actually, that's pretty much all I have to say. YouTube, I don't know what they're going to do with this video. So this is not going to go up, obviously, for quite a few hours, 4, 5, maybe 6 hours. I really don't understand what the heck is going on with YouTube, and it's like I said, and it's already pretty much believed that YouTube does not want people, English-speaking people at the very least, to be putting out anything positive about Belarus on YouTube, and the channels are subdued, or what is it called? Anyway, like I said, why the views go down. You put you have what is it, 19 views, and then the next time you look at 16 views, things like that. And I don't know, too much stuff like this. And then you like the Irish partisan, he left, and he said that every time he was putting out videos, he was losing like 100 subscribers every time. So, and then this Anfisa, I guess she was also having big problems, and so she left. She was actually, showing the party scene, and, lot of interesting, videos for a lot of people. Young, pretty gal, and but anyway, somehow YouTube is screwing people, and I think it might have to do with somehow there was some sort of a dispute between Google and Russia, I believe, and of course, for them, Russia and Belarus are the same place. So I don't know. And one piece of news, there's some sort of thing going out that says that Donald Trump lifted the sanctions on Belavia, which is the Belarusian airlines. And I saw something, was it yesterday or the day before, that it's only lifted on 4 airplanes. And then I'm seeing online now, on Russian Telegram channels, that it's relieved on Belavia. And I remember there was a meeting with Lavrov. That was that security meeting here in Minsk, and that was, I think, last week. And Lavrov is saying that it's kind of a trick only, that the United States is trying to gain control over Belavia. I think I mentioned that in a video as well. So, and this is some sort of a trick because they're going to say which airplanes, where you can fly, and all that sort of thing. And that's probably true. But, Belarus can go along with that, but just not let them get too involved. They can say where, yeah, and all that. But I don't think it's going to be, if Belavia doesn't let them get too enmeshed in it and any other sort of operations of going anywhere else where Belavias can already fly, I don't know. It's not like they're going to get economic control over Belavia, the United States. Especially, they're not going to do that to Lukashenko, I'm sure. Okay, so I guess that's about it. And I don't know, I can't think of anything else at the moment. Okay, the Black Hawk thing I mentioned, I didn't write it down either, but there's always some little bits of news. Look at a man fishing. A man fishing. Oh. Or is it a lady? Looks like a man. Mostly it's always guys. Okay, people. Anyway, thanks for joining me very much. Thank you very much for joining me. And yeah, like I said, I don't know when this video is going to be uploaded. It's going to be quite a long time from now. It's probably about 2 o'clock right now. And it'll probably go up, 2 o'clock our time. It probably goes up about 7. That sounds about right. 7 in the evening our time. Okay, once again, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.